The bedroom that told the truth. A murder hidden in plain sight. They say a home holds the memories of those who live within it. The laughter of children echoing down hallways. The quiet whispers between lovers behind closed doors. The scent of comfort, of family, of safety. But sometimes, a home holds something else. Something darker. In a quiet neighborhood in Frederick, Colorado, a picture-perfect family lived behind those walls. Chris and Shannon Watts with their two little girls, Bella and Celeste. Their photos filled social media. Family vacations, birthday parties, baby announcements. To anyone watching, they looked flawless. But behind that perfection was a storm waiting to break. And when it did, the most chilling witness wasn't a neighbor, a friend, or even a detective. It was the bedroom, the silent space that saw everything and told the truth when no one else could. This is the true story of Chris Watts, a man who built his life on lies, destroyed everything he claimed to love, and thought he could hide it, until his own home betrayed him. Welcome to The Bedroom That Told the Truth, a murder hidden in plain sight. If you're new here and love real stories that uncover how normal faces can hide chilling secrets, make sure to subscribe, tap like, and tell me what you think of this case in the comments below. Now, let's step inside the house where the truth refused to stay buried. The perfect family that wasn't. Frederick, Colorado. A quiet, suburban town where everyone waved at each other and lawns were neatly trimmed. Here, the Watts family had it all. A spacious new home, two beautiful daughters, a baby on the way, and smiles that could light up any screen. Chris Watts was the calm, easygoing husband, the kind of man who seemed steady, soft-spoken, dependable. Shannon was the opposite, energetic, ambitious, loud with love. She sold health products online and filled her social media with cheerful videos of her girls, Bella, 4, and Celeste, 3. Every clip showed joy, Shannon laughing, the girls giggling, Chris holding them in his arms. To friends and followers, they were the perfect family. But behind the filters and hashtags, something was changing. Chris had started to drift away. At first, it was small, a shorter hug, a blank stare at dinner, more late nights at work. Shannon noticed but brushed it off. She was used to stress, she'd battled lupus and pushed through. She thought they could fix anything. But what she didn't know was that Chris had met someone else. Nichol Kessinger, a woman from his workplace, smart, independent, unaware that the man she'd started seeing was still very much married. Chris told her lies, that his marriage was ending, that he was sleeping in the basement, that he was trying to find himself. Nichol believed him. After all, he played his role perfectly. Meanwhile, Shannon was fighting to hold their world together. She planned trips, arranged gender reveals, and poured her heart into saving their relationship. In text to her friends, she wrote that she felt Chris slipping away, that she didn't recognize the man she'd married. When she took a business trip to Arizona in early August 2018, she hoped that space would help. She even texted Chris, "I love you. You're my rock." His reply was cold, distant. While Shannon was away, Chris spent time with Nichol, taking her to dinner, talking about their future. To him, the double life was exciting, intoxicating. But it couldn't last forever. Soon the two worlds would collide. When Shannon's flight landed late on the night of August 12th, her friend Nicole Atkinson dropped her off at home around 1:48 a.m. Security camera footage caught her walking to her front door, suitcase in hand, purse on her shoulder, exhaustion in her step. It was the last time anyone ever saw her alive. Neighbors didn't hear screams. No one saw anyone leave. Just silence, deep and unsettling, under the glow of the porch light. By morning, Shannon wasn't answering texts. She missed her OB appointment, something she would never do. Nicole tried calling again and again, no answer. By noon, panic set in. She drove to the house. Shannon's car was still in the garage, her shoes by the door. But no sound, no movement. Nicole called the police for a welfare check. At 1:40 p.m., officers arrived. And that's when everything started to unravel. Chris pulled up minutes later, calm, almost casual. He greeted the officers politely, unlocked the door, and let them in. Inside, the house looked neat, tidy, almost staged. The children's toys were where they always were. The kitchen spotless. But something felt wrong. Shannon's purse and keys were still there. Her phone lay on the couch, face down. Her car, still in the garage with the girls' car seats inside. It was as if she had vanished mid-routine. Chris acted concerned, pacing slightly, running his hands through his hair. But his voice never cracked. He wasn't crying. He spoke in short, rehearsed sentences. Maybe she went to a friend's house. Maybe she took the girls somewhere. The police officer's body cam captured it all. And later, when the world watched those recordings, they would all say the same thing. He didn't look scared. He looked like a man trying to look scared. As the officers moved through the house, they entered the master bedroom. The bed was missing its sheets. The comforter lay bunched in the corner. To most it looked like simple disarray. But to trained eyes, it looked deliberate. Something had happened in that room. And no matter how carefully he tried to clean it up, the walls remembered. The bedroom that told the truth. From the moment detectives entered the Watts home, the air felt heavy. It wasn't just the quiet, it was the wrong kind of quiet. A house where children once laughed felt empty. Hollow. Chris stood in the background, arms folded, talking softly. He smiled too much. He avoided eye contact. When police asked about Shanann's purse, her wedding ring, her phone, her car, all things no woman leaves behind, he mumbled excuses. He said she might have run off after an argument, that maybe she needed space. But detectives had heard it all before. As they walked through the home, they noticed small, strange details. In the master bedroom, the bed was bare, sheets missing. In the bathroom, the trash can was empty but smelled faintly of bleach. And when they opened the closet, they saw Shanann's clothes, perfectly hung, untouched. Chris's behavior was even stranger. When officers searched, he lingered near them, talking too much, explaining things no one had asked. He nervously laughed when they mentioned Shanann's phone. And then, a moment that became infamous, when the officer asked to check the garage. Chris hesitated, for just a split second, then nodded. Her car sat there, doors unlocked, the girl's car seat still buckled in. It made no sense. Chris's story was collapsing, but he didn't realize it yet. He gave interviews to the media that night, standing on his porch, asking for his wife and daughters to come back home. He said, "Shanann, if you're out there, just come home. The house isn't the same without you." But his tone, flat, emotionless, told a different story. The world saw the clip. Viewers wrote online, "He's lying." Body language experts broke it down, noting his half smiles, the folded arms, the lack of grief. Meanwhile, detectives dug deeper. Phone records showed Chris's deleted messages with Nichol Kessinger. Security footage revealed his truck leaving home early that morning, hours before he said he left for work. Neighbors said his behavior was unusual, that his truck was backed up into the garage that day, something he never did. When detectives replayed that footage for Chris, he shifted uncomfortably. He rubbed his face, looked down, and whispered, "I didn't do anything to them." But the house and the evidence said otherwise. Forensic teams combed the bedroom. They found faint impressions where the sheets had been stripped, traces of skin cells on the carpet, and fibers that matched the sheets later found at a remote oil site. The truth was surfacing. When Chris came in for questioning, the calm facade began to crumble. He failed a polygraph test, miserably. And when detectives told him, "There's no way you can fake that," he finally cracked, halfway. He claimed he killed Shanann after she hurt the girls, a desperate lie to soften his guilt. But investigators knew that wasn't true. Forensic evidence showed Shanann was strangled in the bedroom, likely while she slept. There were no defensive wounds, no signs of struggle. The girls were alive after, taken from their beds, confused and terrified. What happened next defies belief. Chris loaded their bodies into his truck, drove 45 minutes to an oil field where he worked, and there ended the lives of his own daughters. The world was horrified. Even seasoned detectives were shaken. The truth hidden inside that bedroom, the missing sheets, the faint cleaning smell, the silence, told more than any confession could. The house had seen everything. And in the end, it refused to stay silent. When lies collapse. In the interrogation room, the weight of the truth finally broke Chris Watts. The mask, the polite, calm father, fell away. What remained was emptiness. He confessed. He strangled Shanann after an argument about separation. Then one by one he took the girls, Bella and Celeste, and ended their lives. When detectives asked why, his answer was chilling in its simplicity. "I thought that was the only way I could be free." Free. A word that would haunt him forever. He had buried Shanann in a shallow grave and hidden the girls inside separate oil tanks. As if trying to erase them, as if they were mistakes instead of the people who loved him most. When the truth came out, the nation was stunned. Social media erupted. People replayed every old video, every clip of him smiling beside his family. How could a man who looked so normal do something so monstrous? In court, the room fell silent as the details were read aloud. Shanann's parents sobbed. Chris stared straight ahead. No emotion. No tears. He pleaded guilty to avoid the death penalty. The judge called it the most inhumane and vicious crime he'd ever seen. He was sentenced to 5 life sentences, without parole. forever locked away. But the story didn't end there. Because what still haunts many is not just what he did, but how easily he hid it. Friends said he was a great dad. Neighbors said he was quiet, friendly. Shanann's social media told a story of love and devotion, all while the truth was festering beneath it. And that's what makes this case unforgettable. The house still stands in Colorado, empty now but known to the world. People say when you look at the footage from the police body cams, you can feel the tension. It's as if the walls themselves are heavy with what happened there. Every corner, from the children's rooms to the spotless kitchen, tells a story of what once was. And that master bedroom? It remains the silent witness. Because when everything else failed, the lies, the interviews, the cover-up, it was the house that told the truth. The missing sheets, the faint scent of detergent, the misplaced comforter. Tiny details that shouted louder than his words ever could. Even years later, Chris sits behind bars, writing letters, seeking forgiveness he'll never truly find. But the truth, the real truth, doesn't live in his words. It lives in that home, in that bedroom, in the silence that followed a mother's final breath. The last truth. The story of Chris Watts is one of betrayal, deception, and cold calculation. A man who looked like the perfect husband, until his lies came crashing down. It reminds us that sometimes evil doesn't wear a monster's face. Sometimes, it smiles beside you in family photos. So what do you think? Was this pure selfishness, or something even darker? Share your thoughts in the comments. If this story chilled you, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. I bring you true stories every week that reveal how the truth always finds its way out, even when buried deep. Because walls remember, rooms remember, and the bedroom always tells the truth.